Hello and welcome to
Hey, we like your pod.
And we're going to tell you why. Hi, it's Dawn here, and I'm joined as always by my trusted partner, Maddie Pickett, for season 4
Season
of
4
our little podcast, Maddie.
Yeah.
Happy Annie.
Happy Annie to you as well. Yes.
Thanks.
Very exciting.
I can't believe it. I can't believe we're watching football tonight. We're going to make this nice and short halftime show. I'm just so jazzed. I was trying to watch. Our hallway kitty is kind of missing. And she's ended up at another neighbor's. And so we were communicating. It was just a lot. And then like 5 other people decided they had to have a text chain. And then the only person I really wanted to text with was my friend who's a Kansas City Chiefs fan. And I was like, "Are you watching? Are you excited?" And she's like, "What?"
What do you mean, what?
Chiefs, raisins? She's like, Ravens? I said raisins. She said, oh, she totally forgot. And she's a big, she's one of my texts. Anyway, so she was so happy I texted her. You're a gem. So that was fun. Anyway, how you doing, Maddie? How's school going?
I'm good. Things are good. It's funny you said the raisins, because it wouldn't be the Baltimore raisins. It'd have to be the California raisins if that were the actual team name. It's second week of classes, and it's busy. It's good. Can't complain. I mean, how could I complain? I'm just like delirious with joy right now because there's actual real football happening. Yes. Watch most of the first half here of 2 like really good teams playing. It's just so exciting to see, starting football players playing against each other. I'm just totally pumped. Quick hey to our friend Iowa Joe in the chat here. Joe, thanks for stopping by, man. And of course that's the other thing is now that we're back in season with Thursday night football, of course folks will be coming to you at halftime of the football games. And I think Dawn already mentioned we're going to try to do a fast halftime episode because I think we both want to see the rest of the game too.
See the game, and we know you do too. I have like 65 superlatives, but I won't share them all with you. Let's see what's going on in my life. Okay, so our hallway kitty is missing, but I found her today at another house down the street. So we're working on like a situation. It's a long story, but she needs a new home, a permanent home, but she's the cutest cat. I can't bring her in because of Tosh and her GI bleed. So it's just a thing. And one of my other neighbors wants to adopt her, but they're buying a house and they're in transition. She's like, I can't handle this until I move. And so I'm trying to find her like a foster situation. She's the cutest thing on the planet, though. She's like this dove gray, kind of medium long hair with some blonde in it. And then she has the most beautiful light green eyes with black eyeliner. It's such pretty coloring. And then she has the nicest orange peach, almost like a hot pink nose, also with black eyeliner. She's just the cutest cat. And she's so friendly and all of that. So hi Lorenzo, hi Joe. Okay, so let's get into it. Did you bring some superlatives, Maddie?
Yeah, I got 3 ready, locked and loaded.
Okay, you do yours, I'll do mine, and then we'll be off in time for the football game.
All right. So my first one, Dawn. So I'll just go on three in a row here.
Yeah.
My first one is best tradition. So this is a podcast I started talking about last season that kind of like came on my radar that I've really grown to love a lot. This is the Unpack podcast on the Frozen Tundra Frequencies, formerly on the Packing Company, podcast feed. But since SB Nation blew up their podcast feeds, they now have their own feed going with the other former Active Packing Company podcasts like Reporting is Eligible and the Repack. So anyhow, Unpack podcast every year was a thing called the Guy Draft. And I love this concept, Don. So what it is that they, each of the 3 like hosts of the show choose a guy, or actually they have a couple rounds of guys who are like their guy. What that means is they have to have been a third round or third day, a day 3 or undrafted football player. They have to be in their first or second year, and they can't have already been claimed by somebody else in the podcast. So it's like finding those kind of like unheralded, potentially undrafted gems in the team. Those guys you're rooting for, your guy.
Okay.
So they
Okay.
officially claim their guys with the guy draft. And this show is just a really fun show though, because like it's kind of like got a sort of like slacker energy. Like these guys are just kind of like talking and having fun, and it's a deeply unserious podcast in the best possible way. It's just like a really, really fun listen, and the guys have amazing rapport. You know, we've talked a lot about the show about like the best podcasts are where there's really good chemistry with the people who are doing the podcast, and this is such a good example of that. So if you haven't checked out the Unpacked podcast, it's fantastic, and their guy draft that they had on their last win was really, really funny. So highly recommend that. True North Packers fan, welcome, man. Says guy draft means different things in
everything means different things. That's pretty funny. True North Packers fan popped on probably by accident because I had a live stream going on this channel for my true crime show on Saturday. It was like a Jeopardy game, and he's like, "Where am I?" I think he was like,
"That's awesome."
It was good. That's a great one. I like that. I want to check it out. I haven't yet.
Well, I mean, this week, Don, like I feel like I am behind because it's been like the fire hose is on full throttle. It's just been like 15 podcasts a day I want to listen to, 10 articles and 3 videos. It's just like trying to keep up, and I'm almost caught up, but it's been a lot. So
I know it's a lot.
So
it's so fun though. It's so fun.
It's great. It's a lot, but it's great. So all right, my next one then, Don, is speaking of fun, most fun. The most fun for this week has been Sandwich being back on Last Call Lambo as a guest host this week. You know, of course, Sam used to be one of the 3 hosts of the show, along with Monty Moore and Aaron Alice. And then last season, I think midway through the season, realized that like she had too much going on, and so she had to like step away from being on the podcast, which was a huge bummer. But you know, every time that Sam's on there, it's just the silliness ramps up. There's always things that I end up like clipping and posting because like Sam just says the most outrageous stuff all the time when she's on there. So just hearing the 3 of them together, and also because like Aaron and Monty haven't recorded an episode of that like in a while. They kind of were on hiatus for a bit there. So just having the podcast back, having the 3 of them together, holy cow, hilarious.
Now, did you say she was guest hosting, so she's not like permanently back?
No, I wish. Maybe the day will come eventually when she does like rejoin them full time. But this week, just for their premiere of the new season.
I love that. That's perfect though. What a perfect time to come back.
Oh yeah. Like what a great way to celebrate the beginning of the football season, frankly, So that was a lot of fun. All right, Don, so my third one then is kind of interesting because it ties into last week's episode from our season finale of the 3rd season of our show. Because remember, last week there was the guy who was in the comments, and I can't think of his name. Really great guy. And you know who I'm talking about, who was like asking all the questions, and he asked us about who or what our thoughts were about Josh Jacobs and pass protection. Basically, it was kind of getting to that. And then as it turned out, Dusty Evely was actually in the chat as well. So he's like, well, actually, I was just looking at a bunch of Josh Jacobs pass protection stuff. And then Dusty did an article about it. And I was like, he was talking about that in the comments section last week.
Yes, and Dusty was there. Yep.
So the article for, again, Acme Packing Company, second time to mention it today. The article was called The Green Bay Packers, Josh Jacobs and Pass Pro. And, standard amazing Dusty stuff. I don't want to use the word standard to describe anything Dusty does because it's always amazing.
Right.
But you just kind of breaking down like some of his snaps, like some reason for like, hey, this might be good, but also these are reasons it might not be good, And typical like Dusty breaking it down, making it accessible, easy to understand, typically excellent stuff. I shouldn't say standard, I should say typically excellent. So highly recommended it, like everything Dusty does. So a lot of good stuff this week. And those are just like 3 of so many amazing things we saw, read, and heard. I do want to also do a quick side shout out actually to our friend Wendell Ferreira for providing the sort of like like guy on the inside, reporting about the Packers practices and stuff. He's a beat reporter basically, for the week, and seeing his reports from Brazil and from practices has been so cool. So side shout out Wendell, dude, you're awesome.
Shout out to Wendell, and while you were working your little fingers to a bone today, Wendell and I were trying to conspire to get him on the show tonight or sometime today, but the timing didn't work out super great. So he'll be on soon. He's
definitely get him on soon. Yeah.
I think it's better because instead of having him run, I mean, he went back to the hotel. Anyway, it's just better that he doesn't do too much. It's that way he can enjoy and savor some of the moments. Yeah.
He should be present. It's a big week for him, and it'll be cool to hear about how it was after the fact. So,
yeah. Now, this isn't a superlative, but speaking of last week's show and Dusty being in the comments, he did. He helps us all be smarter, right? That's kind of the greatest thing about that. And he kind of compelled me to do a little research on my own about difficulty of positions and why they're more difficulty, and some that they're considered, not just skill level, but the actually learning the position and why. And I won't share any of it because there's a lot of conflicting information about it. So I couldn't really get to a definitive, I think, obviously the quarterback is the most difficult, but I know some people argue that the kicker is the easiest, not skill level. Again, I wasn't talking skill level, but anyway,
none of them are easy. Let's be clear.
It made me think more, which I appreciate about Dusty. And so I have a tweet. A tweet. I have a superlative that I've been saving for a couple of weeks, and this is just, I gotta say, okay, it's called the most Chargers thing ever. And you would know if you live in Chargers world. But I don't know if you heard about this, the Charger players getting stuck in the team hotel elevator.
Yeah.
When they were in, it's just, I mean, it sounded hot, and I don't know how scary it was, but it sounded like a claustrophobic nightmare for me. I hate elevators, but I just thought that was kind of, and somebody actually talked about it and named the article that. So that just coming from Chargers world out here, super funny. Let's see. I am just mentioning Dusty for helping us be smarter about the difficulty and levels, our ranking of those positions. I'm going to keep working on that. Like, I want to understand this more. I want to understand the positions better. And I think I've got the wrong document up, so I'm just going to fly with this. And there's two things. One thing, I'm just going to talk about NFL meets true crime again. And I was just kind of shocked that Rasheed Walker was playing tonight for the Chiefs after his being arrested. Remember, he went into hiding for a little while, supposedly, for racing on a Houston highway, and go just creating a really bad accident situation and then leaving the scene and all that jazz. So I was kind of shy, but interestingly, there were a lot of people talking about it from the legal side, like, why is he playing and how is he playing and why did the NFL allow that? Because I just feel like that's pretty I mean, I understand from the Chiefs standpoint, the legal team is going to do everything they can. He's a rookie. I mean, he was just drafted. But at the same time, I just kind of disappointed that, I mean, whatever the crime is, you just, you don't want to encourage that, and then be out yeah. So I was disappointed. That's all I'll say.
And that's Rashee Rice is who you're talking about, right?
Rashee Rice, for the Chiefs,
Yeah, I mean, I can say, from the college level employee perspective, that there is a certain amount of enabling and looking at the way for college athletes, especially the football and basketball players, and I'll just say, it doesn't surprise me that Rashee Rice could more or less get away with it at the level that he has for that. It's kind of par for the course, sadly. Right. So with you on that.
Well, yeah, I mean, it would have been the Chiefs. They're protecting their investment, basically. And if that's what it comes down to now, he's a rookie, so he wouldn't have jillions of dollars, yet for legal fees. So I'm sure it's the organization that's doing everything they can to get in, which is
Most
kind of
it's kind of icky.
kind of icky.
It is.
I was encouraged, though. I mean, first of all, I was shocked he was playing, but then because I wondered about it, and then I was encouraged, even though I had so many distractions, I couldn't hear everything, but I was encouraged to hear a couple of different commentators talking about it. So it's not like people are at least just not talking about it. So that I appreciate it. So is this his second year? Mark is saying this is his second year. I thought he was drafted. Okay.
No, he was a huge breakout player, especially in the last half of last year. He's good.
Yeah, I have lost track of time, I guess. And hi, it's good to see you, Mark. So Mark, so those are my 3 quickies for tonight. And I just, again, thanks, Wendell, for entertaining the possibility of like jumping on tonight. That would have been really fun. But we are so excited for Wendell and everybody in Brazil who gets to see a game. Couldn't be happier. And super excited also for our guest next week. Before we go, in case you miss it, we're going to have a really fun guest next week. His name is Paul Farrington. He's the Paul Farrington Show, and he is a Vikings fan, and he has like a Vikings show, but he's one of the Packers. Like I found him because he covers Packers, divisional stuff. He's the whole league. He's got a couple of really great partners, but Paul will be with us next week. So just wanted to mention that. Yeah, I'm so excited. His
show's so good, and he's he brings a lot of like self-effacing humor about himself and about his team, and it's really fun to listen to. Really smart, really funny guy. So looking forward.
It is, and he has 2 partners, or co-hosts often. I'm sorry, but I just love Ziggy. His Ziggy, he's just brilliant. You can tell he's like a super intelligent guy, and just. I caught a few of their shows this week. Paul was on vacation, but they're back this week, and I tried to cram in a couple, and just enjoyed every second of their show, just like last year. So it was great. So we're looking forward to that next week. And anything else? Any final thoughts before we get back to the game, Maddie?
Yeah, just one is that echoes something that Ben Fennell said on the show with Andy Herman this week, which is, no matter what happens the first week, just remember it's just the first week. Like this season is a marathon, not a sprint. So if like the Packers come out and look amazing, that's cool, and it's really great. But just know that's not necessarily how the whole season is going to go. If they come out and they lay an egg in Brazil, don't let it get you down. It's just one game, So I think to pass on final thoughts would be like keep a level head. About whatever happens, whether good, bad, or indifferent in Brazil. So I thought that was good advice from Ben Fennell.
I appreciate that. I was thinking the same thing, and I'm really glad you mentioned it because I'll have to tell myself that tomorrow night too. I do remember hearing a couple times that not that it matters a ton, but that the Eagles are favored by 3 points. That was, I think, yesterday. That's fine. That's not like what I mean to say is that's not like by 14 points. In other words, it's going to be a good game. It's going to be a good game. Yeah. No injuries, please, for anybody. I always say that, but I think it's going to be super fun. It's wasn't it interesting to see the Packers player go out on the plane with wearing all the same outfits, like an Olympic team or something?
I didn't see that. Did you
notice that? Yeah, no, I've never seen that before. They were all wearing the same sweaties. It was great. It's like I want that outfit. It's really one that I would wear. So it's kind of all white sweatshirts, a little Green Bay logo, and even the coach had it on.
Nice.
It was so cute. I loved it.
I'll check that out.
Yeah. Okay, Maddie. Well, let's bring her home and get back to the game.
That's right. So, friends, we'd love to have a chance to interview you and shout you out if you're a subscriber and a football fan. If you'd like to nominate someone to be a guest on our podcast, please let us know. Our DMs are open on all the social platforms. And folks, when you subscribe to our podcast, you help us to keep spreading the love in our community. The best way to help this podcast grow is by sharing it with your friends and family.
Yes, Maddie, that's right, because we love you. We're so glad to know you, to be fans of you, and have the luxury of being fans of the most storied team in the NFL. We appreciate your support, your subscriptions, and sharing our pod, and we look forward to seeing you next week on
Hey, we like your pod.
Football in general comes down to discipline and people owning their roles. And when you aren't disciplined or you go outside the scheme, bad stuff happens.